Good Wednesday morning, everyone. I hope this is finding you well and living your very best life in Jesus Christ. Yesterday I spoke about the importance of dealing with our minds actively in order to truly find God's joy in our lives every day. And I suggested two things that, at least in my experience, can and will lead you to becoming a more settled, peaceful, and joyous servant of Christ. So today I'd like to finish that thought by suggesting that we also abandon unnecessary questioning. Now look, I'll admit that I like to ask a lot of questions. I always have. I not only like to understand how things work on surface level, but understand how things work as well as the inner motivations of people in making decisions and choices. That stood me in really good stead as a teacher, and that's frankly how my mind works. It's how I learn and how I understand. But over the years, God has also taught me that some questions, well, at least some of my questions to Him, are simply unnecessary and they're actually detrimental to my joy. A lot of times the answers I seek are unsatisfactory or unsatisfying, and they're hard for me to accept. I mean, sometimes God gives us a reason that's just the way it is. I think God develops our faith by telling us sometimes to simply trust Him without having all the answers at hand. I heard a lady refer to this the other day as the Abraham syndrome. In other words, following God without having all the answers as Abraham did. And this kind of ties into what I said yesterday about avoiding negative and unnecessary comparisons. I mean, people will say, why did that person succeed where I failed? I'm just as smart as they are. Or why am I not as talented as they are? And so forth and so on. But, sometimes instead of a negative, it turns the other way. Like if God hands you an undeserved blessing, you may wonder the opposite. Well, I'm so ordinary. Why would God bless me and not someone else? In the last 2 years, I've heard quite a few folks voice similar questions. And inarguably, one of my first thoughts is that God knows what we can handle, either in successes or failures. I mean, perhaps one of the reasons He withholds an answer or an action at times is because He's protecting our future, or simply because that other person has a different purpose under His will than we do. Following Jesus has taught me that His ways are always best. Still, like you, I find such questions trying to enter my head often. I'm glad the Lord's patient, aren't you? I mean, if you look at it, He's very patient. In John 21:18 through 23, the Apostle Peter, who was very bold, vocalized his unnecessary question to Jesus one day. Jesus had given Peter a peek into the future about his death, and then Peter pointed at John and said, well, what about him? And I like the fact that Jesus basically told him very kindly, none of your business, Peter. I mean, what he actually said was, if I want him to remain alive until I return, then what is that to you? You must follow me. As things happen to us that we don't understand, our questions to God can really be endless. He doesn't always chide us for asking, but maybe some things are just best left unquestioned. And then my last tip is that let's applaud each day's successes, not only ours, but those of others. Hey, you sent 5 cards to church members today, or maybe just one. Give yourself a hand. You walked 1 block or 1 mile. Good for you. You lost a pound or 10. You made a new friend, or you called an old one. Whatever it is, find joy in the ordinary successes in life. Finding joy in the little things and in everyday life will make such a difference in your outlook. Trust me. Look for ways to contribute to the success of others. That always makes me feel good. Celebrate something or someone each day, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem. Life is filled with small blessings that add up to a joyful journey. Don't miss a single one. And hey, do what I do maybe. Write it down so you don't forget it. Find your joy in the Lord today. I urge you to thank God for the journey you're on and for the strength He gives to you. We need to remember that Nehemiah said, the joy of the Lord is your strength. And He is indeed. He's the source of all our joy, because all good things come from Him. I hope you make today a fantastic day. I want you to know that I'm here should you need me, and I truly love you all.